Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Anushka Gandhi, and in today's video we are going to discuss a very important topic which we've been noticing a lot lately happening here in Canada in terms of the visa procedure. Most likely people are getting a lot of visa rejections for student visas, for work visas, and also for temporary visas like visitor visas. So I've been recently hearing a lot from many followers, friends and family members who are willing to come here but are getting a lot of rejections. It used to happen back in the time. I remember when I had applied for my visa, even I was scared, I was skeptical in terms of the acceptance, because back then the acceptance rate was about 20 to 25%, but I've lately heard that the acceptance rate has gone below. So basically now it's 50%, almost 50% of visas are getting rejected, especially student visas. So in this video we are going to discuss the reasons why this is happening a lot recently and what can we do in order to avoid our visa to get rejected. So now, without wasting any further time, let's get started with this video. So before we begin with this video, just a quick reminder, if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Trust me, you're going to get a lot of information here. So getting rejections after applying for a Canadian visa, may it be a study visa or a visitor visa, most likely study visa, has always been a concern. I would not say this is a situation that needs to be addressed right away or it's something alarming in terms of the Canadian immigration system, because this thrill has always been there if you consider for years. Because I remember when I applied for my visa back in 2019, even I sailed the same boat because even I was concerned about the acceptance. Now, the only reason why we're having a lot of eyeballs on this particular issue a lot lately is only because the rejection rate has gone up. Now, when back in the time it used to be 20 to 25%, now you'll see a rejection rate of 50 to 60%, which is a lot. So out of 10 people who are applying for a Canadian visa, 5 are getting rejected. And what I see is there has to be a particular reason why the Canadian immigration system or why the Canadian immigration officers are rejecting those visas, because Canada is a country whose economy is running on the money which they get from these students. The students here pay 4 times the fees for colleges and universities as compared to the fees which the locals here pay. So there's no reason which I see is why the immigration system here is rejecting the visas. There's no profit here, you know what I mean? So in this video, we are going to find out the reasons why is it happening a lot lately and how can we overcome this situation. So the first reason which I see here is the application overload. Now, if you observe in general, a few years back, not many people were interested, not many people were looking for options of traveling abroad in terms of studying or finding a job or even settling to a new country. But these days, every other person is looking to study abroad or find job options there or even settle there, like immigrate to a whole new country. And because of that, there's a lot of applications piling up in the immigration offices here, especially in Canada, being a multicultural and friendly country and a country who accepts a lot of immigrants. So I see this is one of the reasons why they're lagging behind in terms of accepting the visas, and they would probably not be able to be very precise in terms of going through each application given the workload. The second reason which I see here is choosing an irrelevant course to study here in Canada. Now, I've been observing this a lot more lately, that the students here, the students who are applying or willing to come here are being very ignorant in terms of their application procedure. They would just be finding a local consultant and would be putting all the responsibilities of finding a course, finding a college, or even the visa procedure all on the shoulders of the consultant, totally being ignorant as to what the course would be or what the college would be or where the location could even be. What I think here is, you are the person who's going to come and study here. You are the person who's going to stay in this locality. So it's always better to attend all possible study fairs, or get all possible information from the internet, also from the YouTube channels, because we've been having a lot of YouTube channels open lately, who would be providing you with all sort of information. So it's always better to have that handy. Get it all by yourself. Make your priorities. Find out the colleges which suit the best for you. In terms of the course has to be relevant to what you've studied before. If there's a person who has probably studied science and is looking to come here for some arts or some other random course, there's a very high chance that you'll be getting a rejection, because there has to be some continuation, there has to be some relevance to what you're choosing in terms of studying. For example, in my case, if I have done my dentistry, I was supposed to find a course which was related in terms of healthcare. I would not go for a course which was whole different. Even though I might be interested in changing my career, but you're not allowed to do so, because then the immigration officer knows that you're coming here just for the sake of studying and you're not interested in actual studies. So this is one of the reasons, choosing your relevant course. Besides, you also have to make sure, if you're applying for a post-graduation course, make sure that the bachelor's which you've done is lower in level in terms of the post-graduation course. If the person thinks that you've already done bachelor's and the post-graduation course which you're choosing for comes in a lower category, they would not give it to you, because it has to be in a sequence. There has to be some relevance in terms of your bachelor's and your master's degree. So the third and the most important aspect while applying for a Canadian visa, for a study visa, is giving or writing a statement of purpose, which is SOP. Now, statement of purpose is 100% necessary, and it has to be very personal. It has to be subjective to you and your application profile. The reason is, I've seen a lot of students just copying someone else's SOP, or just copying some random formats and filling it up and submitting. This is not how it works. Here, they work a lot using the artificial intelligence system. If they find that you're copying or you've copied someone else's thing, they're not going to accept you. You have to write your own script. Remember, it's not that difficult. You just have to write down, you just have to jot down whatever is meant. Now, in terms of that, you can always ask your consultant to cross-check what you've written, or just to, proofread kind of. But just write it by yourself. There are 5 main points which you have to mention in terms of writing a statement of purpose. The first being, why did you choose Canada? There are many other countries to, study, but why did you choose Canada? So basically, you have to mention all sort of things. What makes you attracted to Canada? Then you have to mention why the course. So why you've chosen that particular course, because the officer has to know, right? So you can mention if there is any relevance. For example, during my times, I've mentioned that I had a prior experience working in a US healthcare firm, in a US healthcare system, wherein I've dealt with all sort of healthcare processings there, and that's why I was choosing this field, because it was related. But this time I wanted to see how it works in Canada. So this is how you're going to mention about why that particular course, or how is it going to benefit you. Now, the third thing you're going to mention is the future prospects. They need to know if you're going to stay in the same country, because obviously they don't want you to stay in Canada after you're done with the studies. Although that's your plan, you don't have to show that there. You have to give them an option. You have to tell them what are your future prospects. For example, if you can mention that you'll be doing a course, and you see there are a few companies back in your country which you might be interested in, and you would be applying for those after you're done with that particular study. So this is how you're going to tell them your future prospect. The fourth thing is financial stability. You have to show them that you've got but enough funds in your account which could help you survive for those 2 years or 3 years, or how much long your course would be. That particular amount of money would help you to survive in Canada, even if you fail to find a part-time job. So this is how you're going to show. Now, it could be a property, it could be a land, or it could just be some amount in your bank. So you just have to show that. the final thing which you have to mention is the strong ties. So here what it means is you always have to make that officer realize that you're going to go back to your country. You're not going to stay in Canada for your entire life. Now, for how you're going to do that is you're going to show strong ties with your parents, or just maybe you might be having some property under your name. So you just basically have to give them a reason why you would be coming back to your country. For example, if you could say you're the only child who would want to take care of your parents when you go back, or if there is any property and you would you have that property, so obviously you need to go back and take care of that, or you would be having any business. So you just have to give them a reason, a strong reason why you're going to go back. So these are the 5 main things which you need to mention in your statement of purpose, and if these things are mentioned on point, trust me, there is no reason I see you get a rejection. Lastly, what I feel plays a role in rejection could be the requirements which have gone up over the years. Now, if you could see, since with the growing application load, with a lot of people being interested in studying abroad, especially in Canada, the requirements, the cutoff has gone up. Because obviously, if they cannot select, or if they cannot choose all of them, they need to find the ones who are best. So they would be seeing people who with high ranks in their prior studies, or people with a higher score in IELTS or TOEFL exam. Now, I remember back in the time, they used to accept the IELTS score of 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5 in a good university. But these days, they won't be accepting even 7. They're looking for more. So probably that is why the competition has gone up. And people are struggling in terms of getting in, because these things which were not taken care, which were not considered, significant back in the time, have now become a part and parcel of this procedure. So what I would like to say is just make sure before attempting your IELTS exam, make sure you're prepared. So before bidding a goodbye, I would just like to say that please follow up with your consultant. Don't be shy, or don't just be an ignorant person. Know what's going on. Know each step of your application procedure. Be involved. Do your own research. Find the colleges which are best fit for you. Find a course which you would genuinely be interested in, and I think that would be great, because I've known that there are many study fairs happening a lot. I think once every month or two in various cities of India. So it's always better to go and approach and get in touch with the university professionals in person, because that's how you're going to get a detailed overview about what the course could be, or how the university could be, or even what the location could look like. So just be someone who's proactive in terms of the application procedure. And if you tackle all these points which I have mentioned, I see no reason why your visa would be rejected. So I hope you love this video. If you do so, please consider to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and comment down below what you want to watch next. Until then, goodbye.